Okay, we are trying this for the second time. Thank you for those of you who had the patience to sit with me the first time and let me know that there was no audio. I appreciate that. This video is for Sagittarians, and this is for Sagittarians for the time period starting today, May the 30th, and going for up to 30 days. So this can be something that completes, usually a life cycle takes about 30 days to go all the way through the process. If you're at the beginning of this life cycle, as I start to talk about it, then it may take 30 days for you to complete through this. If you're more at the middle or towards the end, then you may be closer to, like 2 weeks out or 5 days out from the end of this. So the time frame I'm not going to assign as a firm and hard time frame. Hello there, Rena. Thank you for the feedback on the volume. I appreciate that. Hello there, Manuela. Glad to see you. Glad to see you. I am fantastic. Thank you. All right, so this is for Sagittarius. The other thing that I need you guys to know before I actually get started on the reading is for cross watchers, people who are watching who are involved with Sagittarius somehow in their lives, family, business, relationships. What you need to know is that this, a lot of readers will tell you this is for the Sagittarius or for the cross watcher. I don't tell you that. This is about Sagittarians, and it is from a Sagittarius viewpoint. So if you are a cross watcher, don't think that you're going to watch this video and you're going to get information about you just because you're interacting with the Sagittarius. You might happen to be mentioned, but you're not going to be the key player in the reading. This reading is a reading for Sagittarians, not for Sagittarians and or their cross watchers. Okay, so I just want to be really clear on that. I know some people will say that that can flip. I don't do readings where they can flip. I don't think that's a very high quality reading. I think you need to know who we're talking about. Okay, so there's that. The other thing I want to talk about before we actually get started is if you would like to get a private reading from me, I do offer 1 question or 2 question readings. 1 question is $30, 2 questions are $53. I also offer live readings either via phone or Skype. Those are 30 minutes for $100, 45 minutes for $150, and 60 minutes for $200. No, I am not the cheapest reader around. And yes, that is, I am good. And I know that I am offering you a high quality service when I read for you. So that's why the prices are what they are. Blah, 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 blah. Let's see. What else is going on here in the chat? Annette, you never talk in chat, honey. I have gotten a lot of sunshine, definitely. Yeah, I'm just doing the intro at this point. So let's get started. This is for Sagittarians. We're going to start with a card that talks about your environment. What you need to know is that this can be anywhere where you have energy or effort invested. For most people, it does show up as home, but sometimes it shows up as work or school. So you want to be a little bit open about where I might be talking about for you, Sagittarians. And I think it's ironic that in your environment placement in the spread, you got the 4 of spirals. The 4 of spirals would be like a 4 of wands or a 4 of rods and another deck. And so basically what we're talking about is home and family. So with this coming up as being your environment, some of you could actually be working with family. You could have an in-home business, or it could be that you're spending time with family. And that kind of makes sense because we do have a lot of vacationers and visiting going on. Now, the other thing you need to know about me and family is I view family as not only those people who are blood related, but also what other people would call tribe, those people that we think of as brothers or sisters or mamas or whatever, people that have taken us under their wing and we see them as family, even though technically, biologically, maybe not so much. So that counts. So this talks about in your environment, a lot of you are interacting with family to a great degree right now, Sagittarians. And I'm going to say Sagittarians for every card because if that way, if anybody who is joining late, well, I guess they could read the title and they would know, but I like to have no confusion. Alrighty, so next what we're looking at is your subconscious leaning, Sagittarius. And what we have here is the Four of Mirrors in reverse. This is telling me that, Sagittarius, you may have been really feeling yourself going into the gloomy gust mode lately, where you've been feeling some self-pity and you just, ugh, pity party mode, basically. And what's going on is your subconscious mind is working on, okay, wait a second. Um, yeah, we feel definitely like we're justified in that, but it's not accomplishing much. How can we get out of this mode because it doesn't feel so good, this pity party mode? And how can we flip that so that we're looking at opportunities that are around us and moving forward with those? So that's what your subconscious is working on, looking forward to moving into more opportunities. Okay, next thing that we have coming up talks to me about two different things. First of all, learning style and also communication style. This card happens to be the Six of Mirrors in reverse. A lot of times the traditional meanings of the tarot cards in this particular position don't necessarily apply so much. So if you are a tarot reader and you're looking at this, don't be too shocked if I say some things that you're like, huh, where did you get that? So anyway, this card tells me two things. Tells me your learning style as it pertains to this particular life cycle, Sagittarius, and then it's also going to tell me your communication style. Okay, so what I've got for learning style, Sagittarius, whatever it is that you're interested in learning, it may have to do with the arts in one way or another, whether it's learning about music or musicians or sculptors or sculptures themselves. And I think that as you're learning, you may even be learning to accomplish some kind of creative task or artwork yourself. And I think that as you're learning, you are getting some information, different places along the way, but you're filling in a lot of the blanks yourself and you're adding a lot of your own style to whatever this is that you're learning right now, Sagittarius. Now, as far as communication style, Sagittarius, I feel like you are communicating with people definitely. And I think that what's going on is people who show an interest in communicating with you, that's who you're communicating with. You're not so much, making an effort to go out of your way to people who aren't showing some kind of interest in communicating with you. So you're not trying to push yourself into anybody's life, but there's a little bit of reservation even there. Like, I don't know if I really want to say this to this person. They don't seem like they're so interested. So there's that, a little bit of that reservation going on. But if people are expressing an interest in something that you're interested in or in you and your life, then you're communicating rather openly. I don't see anything really being held back here. Okay. Now, I also think, let me go back to communication style. I did put that card down, but I want to touch on one more thing. I also think you're hearing a lot of gossip right now, Sagittarius. I'm not sure how seriously I would take that gossip. It's kind of like, well, a little birdie told me. Well, who knows how qualified that little birdie was to be talking to start with, how much they really knew. So you may or may not want to pay attention to that gossip, but I do think you're hearing a lot right now, Sagittarius. Next thing that we're looking at talks to me about what you do to make a living, or if you don't actually do something to make a living, what you do to feel productive in the community. And then the other thing that this talks about is inner work that you do on your own character and your own integrity. Okay, so let's look at outer work first. This is work in the community. What do we have here? I feel like there's a lot going on where there are things being ironed out and hashed out. There are ideas that need to be put into play and taken action on. But I don't think that at the workplace you guys are ready to take action with all these ideas yet. I do feel like you're collaborating with other people and really talking things over, making sure that this idea would work this way, and if not, how do we adjust it and tweak it and make it work the way that we want it to, that type of thing. So there's a lot of communication going on, a lot of planning and adjusting and replanning type of thing comes across to me as far as work out in the community for you Sagittarians. Now, as far as inner work, what do we have here? Sagittarians, it looks to me like you are on a little bit of a spiritual bent right now, in that you are wanting to. The phrase that I keep hearing is keep yourself clean, like keep yourself pure. There's something going on where you are wanting to, um, well, you're actively pursuing um, deepening your spiritual relationship with the divine. I guess that's the best way to say it. For those of you who wouldn't quite say it that way, you may be doing research and trying to understand a particular religion or a particular way of thinking, a particular philosophy or theology. But there's something going on here with your work where you're digging deeper. You want to find some nuts and bolts and truth about spirituality. Okay, so there is that. And then the next thing that we have talks to me about that part of your personality, which is being grown or expanded right now. Sagittarius, there may be something that you're trying to heal up from, and this could be an emotional thing or this could be an actual physical ailment. And what I see is that the healing is going slower than what you were wanting it to. And so, where you're growing and expanding is in figuring out how to speed that process up. You know, not how to pretend everything's fine and pretend everything's healed when it's not, but how to actually speed the healing process up so that you actually um, are healing effectively and quickly and efficiently. Okay. So that's Sagittarius for where you're being grown or expanded. Next, we're looking at things that you stand for. Okay. So what we have showing up here is the Ten of Mirrors. This just tells me, Sagittarius, that at least in this particular life cycle, what you're standing for is happiness, satisfaction. I'm hearing that you're standing for the belief in a job well done, whether it's at work or whether it's at home. The belief in the idea that you are actually effectively, truly helpful to those people around you that you want to be helpful to, and also that you are helpful to yourself. Let's not leave yourself out of this. But I have this happiness, this satisfaction coming up is something that you're defending. So isn't that interesting that you have to defend happiness or satisfaction? I've always thought it was interesting how many people have a negative reaction to us when we're happy. If you ever like sit back and just think about or pay attention to that. I think that there's a lot of people that are afraid that if they're too happy, then something's going to be terrible soon and mess that up. So let's not be too happy. And they don't want you to be too happy either because they're afraid that, the world is going to come crashing in around your head if you're too happy. But we've got you standing up for your own happiness here. We've got you defending the idea that, yes, I'm in a happy place. I like the way things are in my life. I like the way I do things. I like my work. I like my hobby. Whatever it is that makes you happy, you're actually having to defend that to somebody. You're having to say, well, yeah, of course that makes me happy. Maybe they think that the things that you do for other people shouldn't make you happy. Maybe they think other people should help themselves. And you get a lot of satisfaction for helping people in whatever particular way you help people. So somebody's coming at you for your sense of happiness, your sense of fulfillment, your sense of satisfaction, and they're criticizing that. And you're having to say to them, you know what, maybe that would not be happiness making for you, but it's happiness making for me. So how about you go over into your life and make you happy while I continue to make me happy? Okay. All right. So the next card we have talks to me about how other people perceive you. All right. This is usually, by the way, the person who would have questioned or challenged your happiness. They see you as somebody who's very creative. They also, in this picture, with this deck, they would see you as somebody who is very classy, somebody who is tactful, somebody who is careful to say things in a way that are the least amount of hurt causing possible. They see you as somebody who is actually very good with words and very gentle hearted. Okay. Kind of nice, Sagittarius. And actually, with the Queen of Spirals, this is kind of your card. Um, Queen of Spirals is like the Queen of Wands or the Queen of Rods. So this would definitely be a card that would be a personification of how people typically think of you. But this deck, how people typically would interpret this card, or how I would, is much more laid back than the traditional tarot. Like the traditional tarot, the Queen of Rods or the Queen of Wands would be somebody who's very self-made, business-oriented, high energy. And this person I feel like is very high energy, but she's just very, they see you as being very classy about how you deliver your messages. You're not in somebody's face type of high energy. Okay. All right. Enough about that. So all that stuff is present tense. You guys should recognize all that right now if you're Sagittarius. Thank you, Rena. Let's see. Thank you for the thumbs ups. Those of you who have given thumbs ups, I appreciate that as well. Let's see. So the next thing that I'm looking at talks to me about the lesson or the experience of this particular life cycle. Now, this can be interpreted a couple of ways. You do have the Mat card. I guess I could hold it like this. The Mat card is similar to the Justice card. This is a very strong person. Sagittarius, I really think that what we have here is you, and you are working on finding your balance. And also in this card, there's a lot of protection depicted here. The Justice card is like a high-level balance card. It's the card where things are balanced out, maybe not even by ourselves, maybe even by outside forces, by karma, by a judge, whatever. I feel like this is actually you balancing out things in your life. And I feel like with that lion in the background, I feel like you're very protected as you do that. And it's also, to me, it comes across as you're learning to find your balance. So this isn't something that you just know how to do automatically. It is something where you're learning to find your balance and you're being protected as you're finding that balance. Spirit is looking out for you to help you to get to that point where you want to be, where you have enough time to take care of the little ones and enough time to make the money and enough time to be a friend and be a spouse or whatever else is all on your plate. I really feel like there's a lot of balance coming in here. And I'm seeing for a lot of you, this has to do with children. Finding that balance to be able to spend the time you want to with the children. Not for everybody, but that's really strong. I would say 60, 65%. This has a lot to do with kids. Now, next thing that we have coming up talks to me about things that happen as you are finding your balance in this protected state. The first thing that we see here is we see Papa Legba, but he's in reverse. This talks about not feeling like you're in a very strong place, not feeling like you're able to manifest the things that you want to manifest, feeling kind of down in the dumps as you're trying to find your balance. Kind of comes across as you're finding your balance, you're kind of giving up on actually meeting your goals or achieving your dreams as you're trying to find your balance, because you're feeling like your energy is spread in so many different directions now that how could that possibly happen? However, what's going on as you're realizing that, you've got a Seven of Stones showing up in reverse as well. So Seven of Stones showing up in reverse is basically showing me a progression here of as you are finding your balance, you're going from this point of, I don't know that I can achieve my dreams anymore. I think I'm just going to have to kind of put them on the back burner for decades or forget about them for a while, to realizing that, yeah, I can still achieve my dreams. It's just going to be a delay. Okay. So we're here. I see you kind of going, oh my gosh, I just can't. Now we see, yes, I can. It's just going to take longer than I thought it was going to take, but I can still achieve my dreams. Okay, so it's a progression as you're finding your balance. And then what we end up with for fulfillment of this life cycle, which will actually kick off your next life cycle as well, is the Five of Scrolls in reverse. And when you've got the Five of Scrolls in reverse, this is telling me that, first of all, you're being successful in finding your balance. And secondly, all that inner conflict that you had around whether you could actually achieve your dreams or not, the inner conflict is going away. You're starting to get your confidence. As you get your balance rolling and rolling and rolling, then your confidence is going to get stronger that you can do the things that you want to do. You just have to make a way to focus on each of them in the appropriate times and in the appropriate spaces. Okay? So I like that. It doesn't say, okay, I've met my dreams, but it does say, okay, I can see how this is going to work. I see how I can be balanced and, take care of my kids if that's the case for you, and still focus on my career and still have my hobbies or my side business or whatever going as well. I see how I can make all of this work. It is workable. Okay. So that's what this is. This is talking about, that you get to that point as you get your balance, that you start to see that it is workable. It's not an impossible task. It's not easy peasy and done, but it's possible and you can do it. And you're seeing that by the time you get to the end of this life cycle. Okay. So that's it for Sagittarians. Thank you, everybody, for stopping by and hanging out. Don't forget, I do offer private readings if you have more questions around this, or if you have other questions that you would like to have insight on. I would be happy to do a reading for you. All my information is on my website, which is in the description box below, all my contact information. So just call or text me is probably the easiest way to get a hold of me. Other than that, if you're not in the United States, you would want to try Skype as the best way to get a hold of me in that case. All right. So everybody have a fantastic, wonderful, thrilling, and peaceful evening. And I will see you guys the next time around. Peace out.